On the distant planet called Zelara, the nights were long and cold. High above the dark land stood the royal palace, built from black stone that shone under 3 moons. Inside the palace, King Zorth sat on his silver throne. His eyes were old and tired. His people were tired too. Years of war with the human colonies had left the Zilarians weak. Their once great army was broken. The humans were strong, and they were close to winning. King Zorth did not trust humans. He thought they were loud and rough. But he also knew that without help, his kingdom would soon fall. So he called for one man, a human who had lived among them for 5 years. His name was Ethan Carter. Ethan was a tall man with dark hair and sharp eyes. He had come to Zelara as a soldier, but stayed as an advisor. Many Zilarians hated him, but the king knew Ethan was loyal. Ethan stood in front of the throne. He did not bow. He just looked the king in the eye and waited. King Zorth spoke slowly. His voice was deep and cold. He told Ethan that the humans and the Zilarians needed to trust each other again. He told Ethan that trust needed a gift, something big enough to stop the war. Ethan did not understand at first. Then the king raised his hand and called for the guards. 2 tall guards brought a young woman into the hall. She walked slowly. Her skin was pale blue like the Zilarian sky. She wore a long white dress, but her steps were weak. Her head was down. She did not look at Ethan. King Zorth said her name was Kayla. She was his only child, his daughter, his heir. But she was weak, born too small, always sick. She could not fight, could not lead. To the king, she was useless. Ethan looked at Kayla. She did not speak. Her eyes stayed on the floor. Ethan felt angry inside. He had seen many tricks in war, but this was new. The king was offering his own daughter like she was an object. Ethan asked the king what he was supposed to do with her. The king said, "Take her. Make her strong. Marry her if you wish. Keep her safe. If she lives among humans, the people will believe we trust you." Ethan almost said no. He wanted to say no. But then he looked at Kayla again. She was not looking at him, but he saw her hands. They were shaking. She was scared. Ethan thought of all the Zilarian soldiers he had seen in the field. Cold, proud, cruel. Kayla was not like them. She was soft and silent, like a ghost in a place full of wolves. He asked her, "Do you want to come with me?" Kayla did not answer. She just nodded, a small, quick nod, almost too small to see. King Zorth stood up. He walked down the steps and put his hand on Kala's shoulder. She did not move. The king told Ethan, "If she becomes strong, they will follow her. If she stays weak, you can keep her. I do not care. Bring peace back to my people." Ethan knew then that Kayla's life did not matter to the king. She was just a piece on the board, something to trade for more power. Ethan felt a sharp hate for the old king, but he kept his face calm. He told the king he would take Kayla. He would bring her to Earth. He would teach her to live like a human. Maybe, he thought, she could be more than just a gift. When they left the throne room, Kayla did not look back at her father. She followed Ethan without a word. The guards watched them go. Some of them whispered to each other. Ethan heard the word traitor. He kept walking. Outside the palace, the air was cold and thin. Kayla shivered. Ethan gave her his heavy black cloak. She held it close. She still did not speak. They walked to the landing field where Ethan's small ship waited. It was an old human transport craft, gray and simple. The Zilarians hated it because it looked ugly next to their sleek silver ships. Ethan stopped before they boarded. He turned to Kayla. He wanted to say something kind, something to make her feel safe. But Kayla spoke first. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. She asked, "Will I die on your world?" Ethan shook his head. "No, you won't die. Not if I can help it." Kayla looked at the stars. Her eyes were big and sad. She said nothing more. Ethan led her up the ramp and into the ship. Inside, the lights were warm, and the seats were soft. Kayla sat by the window and pulled her knees to her chest like a child. Ethan sat in the pilot's chair. He started the engines. The ship lifted off the dark landing field and rose into the night sky. As they flew through the clouds, Kayla fell asleep. Her head rested against the cold glass. Ethan watched her in the mirror. He knew what people would say, that he was a fool, that the alien princess was useless. But deep inside, he felt a promise. If Kayla wanted to live, he would help her fight. If she wanted to be strong, he would show her how. Below them, the palace lights grew smaller and smaller until they looked like tiny stars on the black ground. Ethan looked ahead at the stars above. Earth was far, but not too far. There, maybe, Kayla could become something new. He did not know how, but he knew he would try. The ship broke through the last layer of clouds and entered open space. Kayla slept. Ethan set the course. He sat back in his chair, eyes open, mind awake. For now, there was only silence between them and the endless stars. Kayla woke up when the ship entered Earth's orbit. She had never seen Earth before. She pressed her face to the window and watched the blue and green world grow bigger under them. There were clouds and oceans, and huge pieces of land that looked soft from far away. Kayla felt her chest grow tight. It looked so alive, so loud, so different from her cold planet. Ethan watched her from his seat. He could see her eyes wide with fear and wonder. She looked like a child seeing the world for the first time. He wanted to tell her it would be fine, but he did not want to lie. Earth would not be easy for her. Humans were not kind to weakness, and Kayla still looked weak. The ship shook a little as it passed through Earth's atmosphere. Kayla closed her eyes and gripped the armrest. The landing was rough, but they made it down safely. The ship touched the runway of an old human base, hidden deep in a forest. The place looked like nothing special, just gray buildings, tall, fences, and guards with guns. But inside those buildings was where Ethan's real plan would begin. Ethan stood up and told Kayla to follow him. She did not speak. She stayed close to him, her steps slow but careful. Outside, the air smelled thick and heavy to her. The gravity was stronger than Zelara's. Each step felt like walking with stones tied to her feet. They walked through the gates. Soldiers stood on both sides. Some looked at Kayla with wide eyes. Some laughed quietly when they saw how small and tired she looked. Ethan heard one of them whisper, "That's the princess? She looks like she'll fall over if you touch her." Ethan stopped and stared at the man until he looked away. Inside the main building, they met Lily Brooks. Lily was waiting near the entrance with her arms crossed. She was a short woman with strong arms and sharp green eyes. Her hair was tied back tight. She wore a training uniform and boots covered in dust. Lily had once been a combat instructor for human Marines. She was tough and fair, and she did not like excuses. Ethan told Lily that Kayla was here to learn how to survive. Lily looked at Kayla from head to toe. She did not smile. She asked Kayla if she could fight. Kayla did not answer. Lily turned to Ethan and said, "She won't last a week." Ethan said, "Then we give her 2. He told Lily to start slow. Kayla needed to learn to stand, move, run, fight, all the things that kept a soldier alive. Lily did not argue, but Ethan could see doubt in her eyes. She had trained many soldiers, but never an alien princess. They took Kayla to her room. It was small and simple. A bed, a table, a chair, and a small window. No gold, no silk, no soft pillows like the palace. Kayla touched the bed. It was hard but clean. She did not complain. Ethan told her to rest. Tomorrow would be the first day of her new life. Kayla nodded. She sat on the bed and looked at her hands. They were thin and pale. She wondered if they could ever hold a weapon. The next morning came fast. Lily woke Kayla before the sun rose. She gave her new clothes, training pants, a plain shirt, and boots. Kayla looked awkward in them. The boots were too heavy. The shirt was too loose. But she put them on without a word. Outside, the training ground was cold and wide. Other young soldiers were already running laps. Their feet hit the ground in perfect rhythm. Kayla stepped onto the field and felt all eyes on her. Some soldiers pointed. Some shook their heads. One boy whispered to his friend, "She be gone by tomorrow." Lily made Kayla run first. Just one lap. But Kayla's legs felt like stone. She made it halfway before she fell. She tried to stand, but her body shook too much. Lily did not. "Help her up." She stood over Kayla and said, "Again." Kayla pushed herself up. Her hands sank into the cold dirt. She started walking, then running again. She fell 2 more times before she finished 1 lap. Other soldiers ran past her again and again. She felt their eyes on her back. They did not hate her. They did not care enough to hate her. She was nothing to them. After running, Lily gave Kayla simple stretches and balance work. Kayla's body hurt in ways she did not know were possible. Her arms felt like jelly. Her knees trembled. When she failed to move, Lily did not shout. She just said, "Again, always again." By noon, Kayla could not feel her legs. Lily handed her a bottle of water and told her to drink. Kayla sat on the ground. She looked at her shaking hands. She wanted to cry, but did not know how. She had never cried in front of humans before. Ethan watched her from a distance. He wanted to go to her. He wanted to lift her up and say she could rest, but he did not. He knew this was the only way. If Kayla was to stand among humans, she had to learn to. Kayla woke before the sun. Her legs felt like iron. Her arms hurt with every small move. She sat on the edge of her bed and looked at her hands. They were covered in small cuts and new bruises. She did not know if they would ever look smooth. Again, she did not care. She told herself she would stand again today. Outside her door, Lily waited. She knocked once and opened the door without asking. She dropped a plain piece of bread and a cup of water on the table. Kayla took the bread and ate it slowly. She looked at Lily. Lily did not smile. She just nodded once. Kayla knew that small nod meant good. It was enough. The training field was colder than yesterday. The sun had not yet warmed the ground. Kayla felt her feet sink in wet dirt as she stood in line with the other young soldiers. Some of them were new recruits. Some were older fighters, back for extra training. None of them wanted to stand near Kayla. She was the strange one, the weak one. Lily barked orders. Run, push-ups, sit-ups. Kayla did them all. Slow, badly, but she did them. Each time her arms gave out, she forced them to move again. Each time her breath caught in her chest, she took another breath. The humans watched her from the corner of their eyes. They laughed less today. By midday, Kayla's head spun. She sat on the ground and stared at the sky. She could see a bird fly high above. It looked free. She wanted to feel light like that, not heavy like the stone inside her chest. Ethan came to the field while Lily was shouting at 2 young recruits. He walked over and crouched beside Kayla. He handed her a small packet. She opened it. Inside was a piece of sweet fruit. It tasted soft and bright in her mouth. She had not tasted fruit since leaving Zalara. She did not smile, but her eyes told Ethan she was thankful. Ethan sat next to her for a moment. He asked if she hated him yet. Kayla thought about it. She looked at the dirt on her hands, the cuts on her arms, the shaking in her legs. She shook her head slowly. She did not hate him. She hated the weakness that made her sit while others stood. She hated the soft life she had lived before. Lily blew her whistle. Kayla stood. Ethan stayed sitting and watched her return to the group. He felt something change in her walk. She was still slow, still weak, but there was something sharper in her steps. The afternoon was worse. Lily gave Kayla the wooden staff again. This time, Lily made her stand across from another trainee named Jason Miller. Jason was taller than Kayla and strong. His face was plain, but his eyes were sharp. He did not like that he had to spar with Kayla. He thought it was a waste of his time. Jason moved fast. Kayla did not. He tapped her shoulder with his staff again. And again. Each time, Lily told Kayla to block. Kayla tried. She lifted her arms. She turned her hips, but she was too slow. The wooden staff hit her arms, her side, her back. The other soldiers watched. Some felt sorry for her. Some did not care. After an hour, Kayla's arms were dead. She could not lift the staff again. Lily called a stop. She told Jason to leave. Jason gave Kayla a small look, something between respect and pity. He did not say anything. He just left. Kayla sat on the ground and held her arms. Lily dropped down beside her. She spoke for the first time all day without shouting. She told Kayla she was too soft. Her body was soft. Her mind was soft. Her spirit was soft. Lily asked Kayla if she wanted to stay that way. Kayla shook her head. Her eyes burned. She could not stop her breath from breaking in her chest. Lily told her that tomorrow they would start with the staff first. Not last. First. She told Kayla her body would break again. And again. But if Kayla stood each time, one day her body would remember how to fight. Lily stood and left Kayla alone. The sky was red now. The sun slipped behind the tall trees around. The base. Kayla stayed on the ground for a long time. Her knees pulled to her chest. Her head resting on her arms. Ethan found her there when the lights in the field came on. He sat beside her. He told her about his first day in training when he was 16. He told her how he fell face first in the mud, how other recruits laughed at him, how he could not feel his legs for 3 days, how he almost ran away. Kayla lifted her head. She looked at him with tired eyes. She asked him why he stayed. Ethan said he stayed because he wanted to stand where others fell. He said that was the only way to live as a human, to stand when the world tried to keep you down. Kayla nodded. She did not say more. Ethan stood and helped her up. This time, she did not pull away from his hand. She let him help her walk back to her room. Inside, she cleaned her arms with cold water. She stared at her reflection in the small mirror above the sink. She did not look like a princess. She looked like someone who had no place in the palace anymore. She liked that dot. She sat on her bed and touched her arms again. Each bruise was proof she had not quit. Each cut told her she was still alive. She lay down and closed her eyes. Her last thought before sleep was one small word again. Outside, Ethan stood under the old tree. Lily joined him. She told him Kayla was tougher than she looked. Ethan did not smile, but his eyes softened. Lily asked if he thought Kayla would make it. Ethan said he did not know, but he wanted to believe she would not far above them. The stars looked down. Kayla slept under the weight of her new world. Tomorrow, the staff would wait for her hands again, and she would lift it. Again, Asterisk Kayla woke with pain deep in her arms and legs. She touched her side where the staff had hit her most. The bruise was big and dark. She did not care. She stood, washed her face with cold water, and dressed in her training clothes. She tied her boots tight so they would not slip when she ran. When she opened the door, Lily was waiting. Lily did not speak. She just turned and walked. Kayla followed. Her steps were slow but steady. She did not drag her feet this time. The training. Ground was wet with early rain. The grass was soft and smelled fresh. Other trainees were already running. Kayla stood at the edge and watched them. She saw Jason Miller helping 2 younger recruits fix their gear. He saw her too and gave her a short nod. She nodded back. Lily called Kayla to the center of the field. She dropped a staff at Kayla's feet. Kayla bent down, picked it up, and held it with both hands. Her arms shook, but she did not drop it. Lily stepped back and told her to show the block move. Kayla moved her feet apart and lifted the staff. She blocked left, blocked right, stepped back, blocked again. Slow, but better than yesterday. Lily said nothing, but gave a small nod. Then Lily called Jason over. He took his own staff and stood across from Kayla. He was calm, his grip sure and easy. Kayla's heart beat fast, but she did not look away. Lily shouted, "Begin!" Jason moved. First, the staff came at Kayla's side. She lifted her staff just in time. The wood cracked against wood. The force pushed her back, but she did not fall. She stepped forward and blocked the next hit. And the next dot Jason tested her. He struck. High, low, left, right. Kayla missed some blocks, but hit more than she missed. Each time she failed, the staff hit her side or her arm, sending sharp pain through her bones. But she kept standing. Other soldiers stopped to watch. Some crossed their arms. Some whispered to each other. They saw the small alien princess stand. Her ground against Jason, who was bigger and stronger. Ethan came to the field when he heard the sound of the staffs clashing. He stood by Lily. He asked her how Kayla was doing. Lily said, "Better." Ethan crossed his arms and kept his eyes on Kayla. Jason swung hard. Kayla blocked, but the force made her staff fly from her hands. It hit the ground with a dull sound. Kayla stood there, empty hands in front of her. Jason stepped back and waited. Kael. He looked at Lily. Lily did not say a word. Kayla bent down, picked up the staff, and took her stance again. Her arms hurt. Her shoulders burned. But her eyes were clear. Jason attacked again, a slow strike to test her. Kayla blocked. Then another. Block. Another. Block. She gritted her teeth each time the wood hit her staff. After a few minutes, Lily blew her whistle. Jason dropped his staff and stepped back. Kayla lowered hers. She was breathing hard. Sweat ran down her face and neck. Her arms felt numb. But she was still standing. Jason looked at her and gave her a small smile. "Not bad," he said in a soft voice. Kayla gave him the smallest smile back. Lily stepped in and took Kayla's staff. She told Kayla to run laps with the others. Kayla did not complain. She joined the line of soldiers and started to run. Her steps were slow but steady. Her feet hit the wet ground again and again. The sun came out from behind the clouds. The ground dried under the warm light. Kayla's boots were muddy, her clothes soaked in sweat, but her mind was clear. After training, Kayla sat with the others in the mess hall for the first time. She held her tray of food, rice, meat, and a boiled egg. She looked for a place to sit. Before she could choose, Jason waved her over. He was sitting with 3 other soldiers. Kayla walked over and sat down. The table fell quiet for a moment. Then Jason spoke, asking where she learned to stand like that. Kayla said, "Here." They laughed, not in a cruel way, but soft and Haas. Surprised the other soldiers asked her simple things. What Zilara looked like, why she came here, if she missed her old home. Kayla answered what she could. She did not say too much. She ate her food and listened more than she spoke. But this time she did not eat alone. After lunch, Ethan called Kayla to the small war room near the main building. Maps covered the walls. Screens showed training videos and old battle footage. Ethan pointed to a screen. It showed 2 Zilarian ships fighting a human drone ship. He asked Kayla if she knew. Kayla woke up before the first light touched the small window in her room. Her arms and legs were sore as always, but now she did not feel fear when she moved. She touched her side where a dark bruise from Jason's staff had turned yellow. She pressed it gently. The pain reminded her that she could still stand. She put on her boots and tied them tight. Outside, the air was cold and fresh. She found the training yard empty except for Lily. Lily stood near the weapon rack. She had 2 staffs in her hands. When Kyla came closer, Lily tossed one to her. Kayla caught it without dropping it. Lily did not say good morning. She never did. She pointed at the ground. Kayla stepped into her stance. Lily attacked first. Her staff came quick and sharp. Kayla blocked it, then stepped back as Lily swung again. The hits were harder than Jason's. Lily was faster too. Each time Kayla missed, the staff hit her arms or shoulders. The sting shot through her bones. But each time, she pushed her feet into the ground and lifted her staff again. Lily kept coming. Strike, block, strike, block. Kyla's arms grew heavy, but her mind felt clear. After 20 minutes, Lily stepped back. She lowered her staff and nodded once. Kayla breathed hard. She knew that nod meant she had done well. Lily walked away without a word. Kayla stayed in the yard, practicing the same blocks over and over. When the sun rose, other trainees came out. They saw Kayla already working. Some joined her. Jason walked up beside her and took a staff too. He did not say anything. He just copied her moves. They trained side by side until Ethan called them in for a briefing. Inside the small war room, Ethan stood by a big screen. He pointed at a map of Zelara's royal city. Red dots showed enemy guards. Blue lines showed secret tunnels under the palace. Kayla sat in front, eyes wide, listening. Jason sat behind her with 2 other soldiers. Ethan explained that the king's spies were still sending threats to Earth. He told them that if Kayla wanted her people free, she would have to fight her father one day. Kayla looked at the red dots on the map. She imagined herself walking through those tunnels with a staff in her hands. After the meeting, Kyla stayed behind. She asked Ethan if he really believed she could stand in front of the king. Ethan told her yes, but only if she kept fighting. He asked her if she was ready to do that. Kayla did not answer with words. She just nodded and walked out. That afternoon, Kayla joined a hand-to-hand combat drill. Lily showed her simple moves, how to break a grip, how to step aside when someone attacked, how to use her small size to push someone off balance. Kayla moved slow at first, but each time Lily grabbed her arms. Kayla felt her own strength return. Jason watched from the side. When Lily told them to pair up, Jason stepped forward. He did not hold back. He grabbed Kayla's wrist. Kayla twisted and slipped free. He grabbed her shoulder. She stepped behind him and pushed. He stumbled but stayed on his feet. He turned and smiled at her. Other trainees saw this. They did not laugh anymore. They saw Kayla not as the weak alien princess, but as one of them, bruised, tired, standing on the same cold dirt as everyone else. That night, Kayla sat alone on the small bench outside her room. She held a cup of warm broth in her hands. The stars above looked so bright and far. She wondered if her father was looking at the same stars on Zilara. She wondered if he thought of her as a mistake, a tool, or nothing at all. She did not feel small now. She felt bigger than she had ever felt in the cold halls of her old palace. Her hands were no longer soft. Her arms were no longer too weak to lift a staff. She touched her shoulder where Jason had grabbed her. She smiled at the bruise there. She heard steps behind her. Ethan sat down beside her. He asked her if she missed her old life. Kayla thought about the silk, the warm beds, the sweet fruits, and the soft voices that always lied to her. She shook her head. Ethan nodded. He told her there were rumors. Someone inside the Zilarian palace was angry about her training. He told her she needed to stay sharp. Kayla looked at him with clear eyes and said, "I will." 3 days later, Kayla was on the training field early again. She practiced with the staff, then with hand-to-hand drills. She ran laps with Jason and the others. She ate her meals with the soldiers, who now shared jokes and stories with her. She learned new words. In the human tongue, she asked questions. She listened. One night, when she could not sleep, she went back to the field alone. She heard something move behind the supply shed. She stopped, staff in hand. A tall shadow stepped out. It was not Jason. It was not Lily. The figure moved fast. A flash of metal in the moonlight. A small knife. Kayla's heart raced but her hands did not freeze. She lifted her staff. The figure rushed at her. She stepped aside like Lily had shown her. The knife missed her side. She swung the staff and hit the figure's arm. The knife dropped. The figure lunged again. She blocked with the staff. The wood cracked against the attacker's shoulder. Kayla's breath burned in her chest. She pushed forward. She remembered Ethan's words. Stand when the world tries to break you. She swung again. The figure fell back, clutching her arm. Kayla did not run. She stood her ground. Ethan and Jason came running. They had heard the noise. They tackled the attacker to the ground. It was one of the new trainees, a spy sent by the king to stop Kayla. Jason tied the man's hands. Ethan looked at Kayla. Her arms were shaking, but she did not drop the staff. Ethan asked if she was hurt. Kayla looked at him, then at the staff in her hands. She shook her head. She was not hurt. She was standing. She had fought back. Ethan put a hand on her shoulder. Good, he said. Kayla did not smile, but her eyes shone in the moonlight. She whispered one word, the only word she needed. Again. Kayla did not sleep much after the night of the attack. She lay in her small bed, staring at the ceiling. She saw the knife flash in her mind again and again. But each time she saw it, she also felt the weight of the staff in her hands and the strength in her arms. She had not run. She had not fallen. At sunrise, she went to the training field. Lily was already there. Lily had heard what happened, but did not ask questions. She simply handed Kayla a longer staff, heavier than the one before. Kayla took it and felt its weight settle into her hands like it belonged there. They trained harder that morning. Lily pushed Kayla until her arms ached. She swung, blocked, stepped back, and swung again. Each time her shoulders felt like they would break. She thought of the knife and the spy. She thought of her father's cold face on Zilara. She thought of her own face in the puddle under the moonlight. When Kayla dropped the staff, Lily kicked it back to her. No words, just the silent message. Pick it up, stand again. Kayla did. Again and again. At noon, the whole base gathered in the yard. Ethan stood on a small platform and told them about the spy. He did not hide Kayla's name. He told everyone that the king of Zilara was afraid of his own daughter. that he had sent someone to kill her before she could stand strong. Some soldiers looked at Kayla with new eyes. They whispered to each other, but did not laugh. They saw the bruises on her arms, the small cut on her cheek from the fight. They saw her standing tall beside Ethan and Lily. They did not see a princess. They saw a fighter. After the meeting, Jason found Kayla by the supply shed where the fight had happened. He asked her if she was scared that more spies would come. Kayla said yes. Jason nodded. He said, "Good. Fear makes you sharp." He handed her a small combat knife. Not too big, not too heavy. Kayla took it and felt its cold handle. She slid it into her boot. She knew how to hold a staff now. Soon she would know how to hold a blade too. The days that followed were harder than ever. Ethan brought in new drills, hand-to-hand fights with no staff, knife training, and close combat. Lily taught her how to move fast, to use her small size to slip under an enemy's guard. Jason sparred with her every day. He never went easy. Each bruise on Kayla's arms and legs was proof she could take a hit and still stand out at night. Kayla studied maps with Ethan. She learned secret paths under the palace, where the guards stood, where her father's chambers were. She marked places where rebels might hide. She learned human battle codes and hand signals. Her notes were messy, but her mind was sharp. Some nights she sat alone under the old tree by the fence. She held the knife Jason gave her and turned it in her hands. She remembered how heavy a crown looked on her father's head. She did not want a crown. She wanted freedom, for herself, for her people. One cold morning, Ethan gathered Kayla, Lily, Jason, and 10 trusted soldiers in the war room. He showed them a plan. They would not wait for the king's next move. They would strike first, not with bombs and ships, but with quiet steps in the dark. Kayla would return to Zelara, slip through the old tunnels, and reach the throne room. Lily would lead a strike team to distract the palace guards. Jason would protect Kayla inside the tunnels. Ethan would keep the Earth base ready if things went wrong. Kayla listened to the plan. She saw the risks. She knew the tunnels well now. She knew her father would never expect to see her face in his halls again. Not standing, not fighting. When Ethan asked if she was ready, Kayla looked at him and said yes. Her voice did not shake Dot the last night before they left. Kayla could not sleep. She sat on her bed and looked at her bruised hands. She wrapped the knife in a cloth and tucked it in her pack. She touched the small metal badge Jason had given her, a human soldier's token. She kept it in her pocket. Dot, before dawn, she walked outside.